Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. It's the final day of 2024. It's been a great year overall. I'm going to be honest with you. It is, I'm really looking forward to next year. Unlike some, I don't go and, do New Year's resolutions anymore. I just make small, meaningful changes throughout the year to try and better my life and kind of stick with that. So, we're going to go over just some of the biggest, what I think are the two biggest stories of the year in transportation today. But before we do any of that, as always, you guys, if we got a weekly newsletter that we drop every single Wednesday, but I don't auto sign people up for anything. So if you guys want to go to thefreightcoach.com, it will auto prompt you to register for that on there. It drops every single Wednesday. We'll be starting that back up in the new year on the 8th. That will be our first newsletter because I'm not putting anything out tomorrow. I'm not doing a show tomorrow because Lord knows where everybody will be tomorrow at this time. So we're going to continue to do that. And the newsletter is going to be evolving as well, right? At the end of the day, we're going to want to continue to push that by, talking more about rates inside of there, putting some more stuff and resources out there for drivers as well to kind of really grow and keep that going. Because I know not everybody wants to listen to podcasts and everything else. Some people are old school and they like to read the newsletter and everything else. So we're going to do that. But, again, I don't auto sign anybody up there. And then as always, you guys, the audio only replay of this show and all of the old episodes that we have are up on iTunes and Spotify. It's just the Freight Coach Podcast out there, iTunes, Spotify. Check that out. As always, you guys, if you guys get value in what you hear, subscribe, share it out there to your network, you guys. But, we're just going to jump right in here. I know this is one of those days where most of you guys are probably already partying out there, but I'm going to talk about two of the biggest stories that I think are from 2024 overall. And I think that they are going to have major implications. And they actually, ironically, just happened here within the last couple of weeks. Not saying that anything didn't happen throughout 2024, but I think overall, these are two things that could have a pretty big shape on what the industry is going to look like in the coming years. I mean, it's no secret. This year was challenging from a new business development standpoint, from a current business expansion standpoint. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened. There was a lot of, not a lot of mergers, but there was a lot of things that happened out there throughout the year. And it was a pretty predictable year overall, though. I mean, if you go all the way back to 2023, I was pretty much talking about how 2024 was going to happen. I might've been off on a couple of things, but I predicted it was going to be a pretty challenging market overall. And there might not be any major changes outside of any catastrophic events that happened. And, there was a couple of them, but it just proved that there wasn't that much of a difference in the freight market overall. And I think that this holiday time has really shown that the market hasn't recovered. All right. Because a lot of the people that I've talked to over Christmas and everything else have all said the exact same thing. There was zero tightness in capacity. It was not like a normal holiday time of the year and everything. And I think it's kind of a clear indicator on how the new year is probably going to start out from a freight market perspective. So while some are out there proclaiming that the market's recovered and everything else, and everything's just supposedly fine now, from the people who are actually operating in the trenches, it's a very different story. Now, that there's not to say that there aren't pockets of improvement that have happened out there, but I think overall 2025 is going to look very similar to 2024, at least starting out in Q1. Things could get better. I'm optimistic that things are going to get better, but at the end of the day, you got to play the cards. You got to play the hand that you're dealt. And I don't think anybody can go with any different mentality that like it's just going to all of a sudden be better January 1st. But I think the biggest story of 2024, one of them anyways, is what recently happened here with FedEx Freight. This article was from the JOC, and it was FedEx Freight spinoff is the latest move to shape the LTL market. And then it is, it's kind of, air quotes, new LTL provider. It's the creation of a standalone FedEx Freight. It'll upend a strategic LTL puzzle that's competing carriers have been vying to complete since the demise of Yellow. Among the likely results are increased consolidation across the LTL landscape, an accelerated drive toward dimensional pricing, and higher LTL shipping costs. And then it said that FedEx Freight is already the largest LTL provider. Now, they had a $10.2 billion market cap in 2023 alone. And then the spinoff it'll just make it even bigger now. And then the new FedEx Freight will be an independent public company. As a division of FedEx, it has increased operating profits on average 25% each year. The standalone carrier could have a market cap as high as $40 to $50 billion. And then its next largest competitor is Old Dominion with a market cap of $38 billion, and it's about $6 billion in annual revenue. The shippers will benefit from service improvements and pricing innovations. They had said the spinoff is the latest development reshaping LTL networks out there. And then as shippers work to shorten distance between distribution center suppliers and end customers, LTL carriers see more opportunities to expand beyond their industrial base. Carriers and shippers will have time to adjust to Thursday's news. This is the article from last week. The spinoff came out there, and then we expect to add more than 300 LTL sales specialists by the time of the separation. And then that's what FedEx said. And we're excited to create a leading LTL pure play. And then at the same time, it's very important to note that FedEx Freight benefits from a lot of the association with FedEx. And I truly think so. Like, why I think this is the biggest story is I think that transportation alone, and I've been saying this throughout the year, I think the industry is going to look vastly different over the coming years. I don't know if it's going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but I truly feel like the LTL industry is going to be, or the entire trucking industry is going to be vastly different. I truly feel that we are going to be transitioning to more of a hub and spoke regional model for freight. And I'm saying that because it is completely driven by consumer behavior. None of us are going to wait 3 days now to get something, right? Like, we all want shit now. We want it today. And what they're talking about here is it understands that it's supporting their regional play, right? And I see like the Amazon effect is a very real thing. Walmart, very real thing. A lot of that stuff. And I truly feel like the way things are progressing, and I've said this, I'm not saying that long haul trucking is going to go away, but I just do not think that there is going to be a market for 2,000-mile runs anymore, at least not at the volume that there is right now. I think it's going to slowly phase out, and it is going to transition into more of 500 to 1,000-mile runs at max. And that is just going to the way that the industry is going to evolve into. And I think FedEx is banking on this. And I think that a lot of larger providers are going to really kind of roll up into that model. I think that that's the model of the future, because it is just completely driven by consumer behavior. And bringing in a full provider like this, of this size, that is now instantly number one. And we all know that FedEx has very deep pockets, and they are probably going to come for it. I wouldn't be surprised, bold prediction, I wouldn't be surprised that if there is a consolidation or some M&A, that goes in there because, LTL, all things considered, is kind of controlled by like 5 to 7 carriers overall, right? Like there's a bunch of regional subsidiaries and everything underneath that. But I wouldn't be surprised if this causes a roll up of sorts that go on out there. And I think that this is probably the biggest story from this year. I truly do. One of the biggest stories. I truly do, because I think this kind of plays into my long-term prediction of and what I ultimately predict is it is going to be a hub and spoke model. That is going to be the future. That is the way that that's just the way the most airlines operate right now. I think it's more efficient. I think that we've been trending in that direction. And I think a move like this by FedEx really kind of solidifies that is the direction that things are going to ultimately end up. I don't think it's going to be in the next like 2 years or anything like that, but I truly feel like as people want more, they want more faster deliveries and everything else that come along with it. It's just going to be the natural progression. It is just a complete consumer driven thing. And I truly feel like this is a very big story that kind of got buried in the holidays here. And the fact that this isn't getting talked. And again, I haven't been searching it all that much. I could be wrong. People could be talking about it a lot that I'm not aware of, but out of all the research that I've done, I haven't seen it. I truly feel like this is one of the biggest stories that are out there because of the aftershock and the after effects that this can and will cause out there. So I think FedEx Freight splitting and coming off onto their own is a very, very big deal. And I think it is going to be it's going to be a pretty significant ripple going into 2025. That article, you guys hit it up, joc.com. They're probably my favorite news source in the transportation industry. I get a lot of my stuff from them. From the JOC. So I would hit them up if you want that article on this one. But again, I think that this is a very big, big deal that, again, I can't see any new, I haven't found any news or posts about it out there, at least at scale, at the scale that I truly feel like it should be. Steve Setka, my man, says small, meaningful changes all year. I believe goal making should be prohibited. Dude, I think goal making and everything has been prohibited and not even thought about since Thanksgiving, brother. But yes, I agree with you, man. Then watched a Ward rig go by yesterday and put on my Britton Lad hat, a mashup of Ward, Pitt, Ohio, A. Dewey, and Southeastern would be formidable. But then that conglomerate would be bought by Knight Swift to take over the nation. Merry Christmas as well. And it says LinkedIn user. Maybe that's Matt Fink. It's been a while since I've seen Matt Fink on the show. But no, I truly think that is probably going to happen. I think that it's going to cause some consolidation out there. I really do. Let me see here. Steve asked, what were my most massive personal and professional accomplishments? And how will you leave 2024 behind and blast through into 2025? Matt, I thought that was you. I miss you, brother. I miss you. Steve, I am going to talk a little bit more about that on Thursday's show, about going into it and what was accomplished in 2024 on a personal level, and what again, back to that small, meaningful changes and stuff, and how I don't believe in setting New Year's resolutions. I think those are bullshit, just like I think motivation is bullshit. I'm going to break that down a lot more because I'm not technically finished with what I'm going through right now. Today is the last day of the Live Hard program, and I'm going to go through this because I truly feel like this is the cheat code to life. And I'm going to talk more about that on Thursday's show as everybody is fully recovering from their hangovers and wanting to talk about New Year, New Me, fitness and business and all of those other goals and everything else, and why you just literally just need to commit to a lot of things and then just stick with them ultimately. But I think the absolute biggest story of 2024 that will literally reshape everything is Trump getting reelected. This article is from ttnews.com. This just came out, actually, and it talks about the Trump era returning. And I think President Trump getting reelected in November was the absolute biggest thing that could happen out there. And I am of the mindset that we will never have a more pro-business president than Donald Trump. We will not at all in the future. If you go in the past, all of that, Donald Trump will always be the most pro-business president out there, in my opinion. And I think that will have massive massive upswings for our industry because people's confidence is going to be back out there. And obviously there's a lot to be seen, right? Like, I'm not going to ever sit up here and say, and I'm not the one who is worshiping of any candidate or any political party. I am very much middle of the road on a lot of my opinions on things. I am very much pro America, though. I am always going to be America first in everything because I'm American, and I feel like every American should feel that way. But I'm not here to tell anybody how to think or live because, again, I believe in freedom for all. Your version of freedom might look different than mine, but I want America to win first and foremost. And I truly think a pro-business president coming in there is going to be very beneficial for the country as a whole. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned that guy's name and all of a sudden shit drops off of your viewer count. That's okay with me. Anyways, though, but I think, talking about this, reshaping policies, getting, again, I'm like, as a business owner, you guys, I've already been doing with, about taxes for 2025. Taxes have went up for me in 2025 already. I already ran my first payroll and everything like that. And I noticed that there's a bump in taxes and everything else. And that's one thing that I really, really hope that they can get back in is because what isn't talked about a lot and I'm going to talk more of a small business owner's perspective here is the absolute ridiculous amount of taxes that you have to pay because like, here's the thing, my business itself pays taxes. I'm technically an employee of myself because I'm an S corp and I have to pay double tax on that. I have to pay fucking payroll tax on that. And then Chris Jolly, the individual, has to pay taxes as well, right? So it's like, I fucking hate paying the amount of taxes that I have to pay. And I'm really hoping that coming in there and cleaning up some of that is going to be very beneficial out there because I'm of the mindset that, and again, I know anybody can make this argument in either way, but my mindset is this. If I or most business owners had to pay less in taxes and everything else, I would hire more people because I truly would. And I know that there's some data out there. I know that there's some counter arguments that can go on out there for either side of this, but I truly want to see some life breathed back into small business for the ability to operate and succeed, right? Because our country is built on small business. Our industry, transportation alone, is built on small business, you guys. Like 95% of the business of brokerages, trucking companies, owner, all of that stuff, you guys, like 95% of it is small business. We only see the top couple of companies that are out there that get all the headlines and everything else. And that to me is not a clear indicator of what our overall economy is. So I think it is small business. That is the backbone of this. And I'm just really looking forward to having an opportunity to succeed in business, right? And, again, I'm going to win in any market. I don't care who's in office. I don't care what political environment is going on out there. I'm going to win in any market. I am going to find a way to win because that's your job as a business owner. I don't look, like I had said, I don't look to any political party or any candidate to go in there and fix my problems for me because I personally think all of DC is a fucking joke. But outside of that, it is up to me as a business owner to find a way to win, and I'm going to win. But I think that having a leader like Trump in office is going to be very beneficial for the economy overall. And I think that him winning is a very big win for business as a whole. There's going to be a lot that can come about this. And I think that, the Infrastructure Act, that talking about Trump's transportation agenda is halting programs associated with advancing electric vehicles. The Trump White House intends to focus mostly on promoting domestic energy production, improving existing fuel-powered vehicles, which I think going to be a win for the industry. And then it goes on to say the Transportation and Infrastructure is a committee where members can roll up their sleeves and get things done for the American people. On the other side of the Capitol, Republicans Ted Cruz and Shelley Moore will lead the push to update provisions of the 2021 law pertaining to the Green New Deal. With Trump back in the White House and a Republican-led Congress, we have the responsibility to promote and advance Republican policies within our conference. I look forward to working with new leadership roles out there. And then again, like, I think that is a very, talking about just our infrastructure alone, our infrastructure is a joke. All right. Like, all things considered, our roadways, airports, all of that stuff, our ports, everything needs to be improved. The Green New Deal is going to show, I think it's going to prove to be a massive fucking flop out there as a whole. But I want to see this to where it's like, we can work on the tax code here, get things cleaned up, and then get more money flowing through our economy to improve our infrastructure. And if the infrastructure improves, trucking improves. If a lot of these things improve, you guys, trucking improves. Trucking is the first industry that is affected by policy and everything else. And, if we can get that going on there, I think it's going to be a very good move. I truly do. And then I'm a fan of where that is. And I truly think that was the biggest story for 2024 for the transportation industry. And this is a good article, you guys, going in there from ttnews.com. Check that out, you guys. It kind of lays out a lot of those things. But like I was saying, ultimately, you guys, it's up to you to win. All right. The system that we're in right now, and it's clear that there's an opportunity in any market. I mean, down market, like, we grew as a business. We've had a dismal last couple of weeks because all of our customers slowed down around the holidays. But that's what you go through when you're building stuff, right? It's all about piecing together those gaps. And I'm going to approach next year like I'm going to approach the next 30 years of my career, right? Is I need to execute my daily tasks to succeed in the long term. And I'm never going to sit here and say, people don't take time off or don't do this, but don't apologize for working for your long-term goals, because it take, contrary to what you will see on social media, it is a lot harder than you think. All right. I've been doing this for 15 years. It has taken me a lot longer than I thought to get new business, to get our business up and running. And I think that a lot, I just want to continue to bring that message of reality, because, like, we don't have funding. All right. Like, I don't have a family member who's just giving us cash to burn or anything else. When I'm coming in, from my perspective, you guys, I'm just an individual that is trying to build their dream, and I'm trying to document everything along the way, right? Like, I'm trying to document my journey, and I'm trying to put that information out there for people who are truly trying to build something that might feel lost, that they don't have the answers. I don't have the answers either. But I just want to continue to put content out there that people can use and apply to their business and learn from the network that I've built up in doing this show for, we'll be at 5 years of doing this podcast. And, again, it's the top podcast in transportation for a reason. It's because I'm out here just bringing reality to it. I'm out here giving, my opinion might not be right, but it's my opinion at the end of the day. And I want to continue to do that. And I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm going to show up every single day, and I'm going to put content out there to benefit others with that. And, I would argue this until I'm blue in the face. Social media is not what it seems. All right. It is not what it seems. This is extremely hard to go out on your own and build something up. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And it's going to be the hardest thing I'm ever going to do in my entire life. And I'm going to document this journey along the way. I'm going to continue to say when we find stuff that works, when it doesn't work, all of those things. I'm going to continue to talk about a lot of this, you guys, because I'm not here to try and sell anybody anything with any of my content. The Freight Coach is a brand. All right. I feel like I got to say this at least once a month. The Freight Coach is a brand. Yes, I was a consultant, but I do not do any coaching I do not do any consulting services. The only thing that I do is I work with the TIA and the New Broker Success Program to teach the fundamentals of it. And that's something that I will probably never get away from, because the TIA is one of the very first organizations who believed in the content that I was putting out almost 5 years ago. And I love teaching. All right. I love teaching people. And I'm going to continue to do that. But the Freight Coach is a brand, you guys. I am coaching people about the industry. No, I do not have a course. No, I will not do any of that stuff ever. I'm going to continue to put out free content for individuals where you guys can go in, research different topics inside of my content category or catalog of almost over 1,100 episodes at this point, and you can find a ton of information where it's coming from people who have actually done the job and who are actually doing the job. And that's what I'm going to continue to do, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that. Matt says, no need to read into this much, but likely will never get much press. Article from the Wall Street Journal. I'm going to have to definitely read this. And then it says, during Donald Trump's first presidency, Koch and Fisher attended a dinner for chief executives. The president asked each of them to bring one good idea to help the country. Yeah, I am of the mindset, and I'm going to wrap up with this. I'm going to read that article, Matt. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to wrap up with this. We need to start treating our country as an actual business, and not borrowing and leveraging against the future. Because like, if my business made $1 million a year and I spent $40 million a year, I would be bankrupt. That's essentially the way that the US government operates right now. We need to fix this shit, you guys. We can't keep kicking the fucking can down the road. We got to fix this. And again, I truly feel like we are going to enter a very solid bull market coming up here in the next 4 years in business. But that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are all safe out there. For the love of God, call an Uber if you go out tonight. All right. Take an Uber out, take an Uber home. Do not get behind the wheel. You guys do not make those decisions. You are all smart enough. Fucking, if you really need it, DM me. I'll pay for your fucking Uber. Don't go out there and be an idiot, you guys. Just do that. Stay where you're going to stay, whatever it is. Don't get behind the wheel. Don't drink and drive. Don't do anything like that tonight. Be safe, everybody. We will be back in the new year. And just because it's 2025 doesn't mean we change, you guys. We are getting a little bit better every single day out there. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.